I was in Kyoto at this tiny hillside shrine, cicadas screaming, incense drifting up the stone steps. A college bro in a neon tank top, shorts basically illegal, clomps up in sneakers. There's a clear sign with a little cartoon. No shoes on the wooden hall. He squints, then goes, "So, shoes off is just like a suggestion, right? Like recycling?" The old priest silently appears, glides over, and points at his feet. Everyone freezes. Bro sighs, kicks off his Jordans, and whispers, "Guess I'm recycling my dignity today." Honestly, the gods didn't need thunder. They had socks with holes energy. At a Bangkok temple, gold everywhere, sun frying my last brain cell, a wellness Karen in a white sports bra, and yoga leggings marches up the stairs. The sign literally says, "Cover shoulders and knees," plus pictures. She points at it and tells the guide, "This doesn't apply to me. I'm here for spiritual alignment, not tourism." Then she adds, "My aura is dressed." The guide blinks twice, hands her a rental sarong, and says, "Your aura can wear this too." She wraps it, offended, and hisses, "This doesn't match my intention." "Lady, your intention is currently underdressed." In Istanbul, outside a famous mosque, the evening call to prayer echoing, I watched a cruise tourist dad in a Hawaiian shirt argue with the free robe rack. The volunteer explains gently, "Shorts are not allowed inside, you must cover your legs." Dad pats his knees and says, "These are family-friendly legs, man. Disney approved." People actually turn around. The volunteer just smiles, hands him a long blue robe. He shuffles past his kids, muttering, "Congratulations, you've invented religious pajamas." No one had the heart to tell him he finally looked respectful for the first time all vacation. Up in Ubud, Bali, at a temple by the rice terraces, gamelan tinkling in the background. I saw an Instagram travel girl treat the dress code like a styling challenge. The entrance sign says sarong and sash required. There's even a rental booth. She waves them off. "I have a beach wrap. It's basically the same thing," she tells her boyfriend. Then she ties it so high her entire sacred knee collection is still on display. The old lady at the booth taps her own knees, then the sign. The girl groans, rents a real sarong, and sighs, "Fine. Tradition wins, this time." In Athens, up on a little monastery on a cliff, wind slapping everyone awake. A first-time traveler from Ohio tries to negotiate the no bare shoulders rule. The nun at the entrance is calmly offering shawls. He's with his girlfriend, who's in a tiny crop top. He leans in and says, "So, if I wear the shawl instead, that counts for both of us, right?" She stares at him like he just suggested a group discount on gravity. 2 minutes later, they're both wrapped in borrowed fabric like mismatched burritos. Honestly, the icons inside looked less judgmental than his girlfriend. In Jerusalem's old city, hot stone, murmured prayers, the Western Wall area buzzing with quiet tension, a movie fanatic walks in dressed like he copied a streetwear lookbook. He spots the stack of paper kippas and asks the guard, "Is this like a VIP hat? Do I get closer if I wear two?" The guard doesn't even blink. "One is enough, sir?" The guy smirks, slaps on his little paper cap sideways, and whispers to his friend, "It's like a religious backstage pass." Meanwhile, every grandma in a headscarf is out-respecting him by about 6,000 years. At a temple in Chiang Mai, lanterns hanging, dogs sleeping in the shade, I watched a freedom guy in a bald eagle t-shirt read the "No sleeveless shirts inside the hall" sign and just glitch. "So you're telling me my shoulders are a threat to spirituality?" he tells the monk, half laughing. The monk smiles softly, "Only to concentration." The guy stands there wrestling with that sentence like it's higher math. Eventually, he buys a cheap cotton shirt from the stall outside and mutters, "I can't believe I lost this argument to wisdom." Honestly, fair trade. In a tiny village in Peru, high in the Andes, the local church glowed with candles and old wooden saints. A minimalist adventurer shows up in shorts, sandals, and a tank top that says "Live simple, pee outside." There's a handwritten note on the door, "Please dress modestly in this house of God." He reads it, shrugs, and says, my lifestyle is modest." The grandmother at the entrance silently wraps a woven shawl around his torso like a human lesson. He whispers, "Yeah, okay. That hits harder than any TED Talk." The saints probably nodded. At a Shinto shrine in Tokyo, crisp morning air, white banners fluttering, I saw a wellness influencer with a crystal necklace and a huge hat treating the purification basin like a spa sampler. She walks up, reads the little pictogram instructions, rinse hand, rinse other hand, rinse mouth, and goes, "I'll just do the version that resonates." Then she dips her entire reusable water bottle into the basin and says, "Temple-infused hydration, let's go." The shrine maiden appears out of nowhere, gently stops her, and explains. The influencer blinks and says, "So this is like spiritual cross-contamination?" Yes, precisely you. In a cathedral in Prague, organ notes hanging in the air like ghosts. A retired rich couple shuffles in with those matching zip-off travel pants. There's a clear pictogram at the door, no shorts, no hats. The husband whispers, "Watch this," and dramatically peels off the bottom half of his pants to prove the zippers are respectful technology. A volunteer rushes over, points at his calves and says, "No shorts, sir." He gasps, "But these are premium performance fabrics." She calmly hands him a wrap. Nothing humbles a man like luxury knees getting downgraded to community cloth. In Morocco, at a hilltop shrine above the city, wind full of dust and calls to prayer, a TikTok travel expert stands at the entrance in a tight outfit that could sue the word modest for defamation. The caretaker gently asks her to cover up. She sighs and says to her followers, "Apparently my shoulders are offensive to God today." The caretaker just looks at her phone and says, "Maybe give him a break from the live stream too." Comment section, instantly destroyed. Sometimes the holiest thing in the room is a well-timed clapback. On a lakeside Buddhist temple pier in Sri Lanka, the air thick with jasmine and candle smoke, a business consultant in a polo holds up a sign that says, "No hats inside." He taps his forehead, then tells the guide, "But my scalp burns easily. Maybe we could find a compromise solution." The guide just smiles. The compromise is, you respect the rule. Consultant guy nods slowly like he's hearing a radical new management framework. 5 minutes later, he's barefoot, hatless, and whispering, "This place has amazing policy enforcement." Brother discovered culture and called it governance. In a Russian monastery, snow crunching, onion domes glowing faintly, a loud Texas guy shows up in a giant puffer jacket and cargo shorts. There's a sign with icons: head covered for women, modest clothing, no hats for men inside. He stares at it and goes, "So, my legs are cold, but my hat is the villain?" The monk at the door waits patiently while he processes theology via knees. Eventually the hat comes off, and the monk just nods like, one small step for man, one giant leap for that haircut. At a Hindu temple in Chennai, marigold garlands everywhere, bells ringing. I watched a bargain hunter dad pull his ultimate move at the rent shawl 20 rupees desk. The attendant explains, "You must cover your upper body properly inside." Dad looks at the shawl, looks at his wallet, then asks, "Is there a shoulder-only package? Like half coverage, half price?" The attendant doesn't even flinch. Full price, full respect. 10 seconds later, he's wrapped completely, sulking, mumbling, "This is the least cost-efficient piece of fabric I've ever worn." The gods probably high-fived. In Seoul, at a hillside temple with red columns and creaky wooden floors, a college bro in a basketball jersey and backwards cap hits the remove shoes before entering area like it's a personal attack. He's holding limited edition sneakers and tells his friend, "Bro, what if someone steals them? These cost more than my GPA." A grandma in socks and worn-out slippers just smiles, sets her shoes down next to his, and walks in. Nothing was taken except his sense of importance. You could see him whispering, "Okay." Trust exercise unlocked. In Mexico, at a centuries-old church in Oaxaca, candles flickering, smell of melting wax and stone, a wellness. Karen in a linen jumpsuit stops at the "No photos during Mass" and "Dress respectfully" signs. She turns to the usher and says, "I'm just here for the energy, not the religion." He glances at her deep V-neck and ring light and replies, "The energy is also asking to be covered." She gasps, wraps a scarf over herself and mutters, "I feel censored by the universe." No, ma'am. That's just the dress code beating your main character syndrome. At a temple in Hanoi, incense thick enough to chew, red lacquer everywhere, a movie fanatic walks in with a t-shirt of some action hero holding a gun. The sign clearly says, "Avoid violent imagery inside the sacred hall." The staff points at the shirt. He laughs, "Oh, come on, he's basically a saint where I'm from." Their faces do a full software crash. They hand him a simple brown shirt to borrow. He steps out later and whispers, "I feel strangely calmer." Buddy accidentally cosplayed as humility and didn't hate it. In a countryside shrine in rural Japan, fields of rice glowing in the late afternoon, a minimalist adventurer shows up barefoot in rolled-up linen pants, no shirt, tiny backpack. There's a polite sign. "Please wear a shirt inside the shrine." He reads it, then tells me, "I don't really believe in shirts as a concept." The shrine caretaker smiles, slides open a drawer, and produces the plainest white t-shirt on earth. "Today you can believe in this one." Watching him pull it on was like seeing a philosophy major lose an argument to cotton. On a hill in Portugal, at a tiny whitewashed chapel overlooking the ocean, a honeymoon couple poses for photos at the door. She's in a dramatic, slid-up-to-heaven dress. He's in a tank top and flip-flops. The priest opens the door, smiles, and gently gestures at a rack of shawls. "For inside," he says. The guy laughs. "But Father, we're celebrating love." The priest nods. "So is everyone else. They just don't show all of it." 10 minutes later, they walk out, fully wrapped, still holding hands, slightly more married to the concept of boundaries. In a Cambodian temple complex at sunrise, orange sky, monks walking silently, a TikTok travel expert is live streaming every step. She hits the entrance to a central shrine where a sign says, "Please cover legs fully." She's in bike shorts. The guard offers a sarong. She looks at her viewers and says, "Okay, chat, do we respect ancient culture or risk it for the aesthetic?" The guard just raises an eyebrow. Chat spams respect. She sighs, wraps the sarong, and mutters, "Wow, canceled by my own followers." Honestly, that's the most useful thing the algorithm's done all week. At a tiny monastery in the Alps, bells echoing off snow, a complainer dad stomps up the stone steps in tight jeans and a baseball cap. The sign at the door, silence, modesty, no hats. He reads it, snorts, and says, "My hairline is nobody's business. Okay?" The monk at the door just smiles and taps his own completely bald head. Without a word, the dad slowly takes his cap off like he's handing over classified information. Sometimes the holiest language really is each pure, brutal eye contact. In a shrine tucked into a Hong Kong hillside, incense coils hanging from the ceiling, a patriot uncle in an American flag shirt pauses at the entrance mat where everyone's removing shoes. He plants himself there and says, "Back home, we keep our shoes on to show we're ready for anything." The caretaker smiles. "Here, we take them off to show we're not running away." The uncle actually stops, processes that, then slips his shoes off, suddenly very quiet. Nothing humbles swagger like a proverb that kicks off your sneakers. And in a quiet little Sikh Gurdwara in London, free food smell drifting out, soft hymns playing. I watched a first-time traveler stare at the basket of headscarves and the "cover your head" sign. He picks up a bright orange scarf and whispers, "Bro, I don't know how to tie this. I failed Boy Scouts." An older uncle steps over, smiles, and ties it for him in 2 smooth motions. Traveler looks in the mirror and says, "I've literally never looked more out of my league." Uncle claps his shoulder. "Good. That's where respect starts."